Fabian. And okay, we start recording now. So please accept it, everybody. And yeah, so pretty much, yeah, very excited, yeah, to join Fabian with all these projects in the crypto space.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so move to the next, the presentation of the organization. So in 2020, we created the organization YmplePay. So it's a foundation. Also, we are working with open source projects, but it's mainly a foundation. We are based in Germany mainly, so in Europe, but we have collaborators in US also. In 2021, we created the token IMPA. So it's a token created on the Binance chain. So it's mainly BIP20. So it's now a little bit more than 1 year, but the crypto is available on different swap and different exchange. Then we have, this year we released 2 things, the MVP version 1 and the version 2 of the payment solution. So it's available and working. And next year we are planning to release a version 3 with major improvement in terms of payment functionality. This is a project in progress. We have a long-term vision, so we will not, we have a long-term vision, and we are every day and every month, every quarter, let's say, taking feedback and improving what we have. So let's talk about technologies, Web3 DeFi. So the talk is a little bit as a feedback for everyone based on our experience that we have in the market. And then it's large field, so Web3 is very big, but I will try to cover what we have at the moment, what we know. Okay, so what is bringing, from our point of view, the Web3 at the moment? So we have the first part is a way of authentication. The Web3 is not anymore like Web2, a way where you authenticate with username, password, with email, all this. We don't have. So Web3 is really token phrase based. You don't have any private data originally. So it means that if you log in or if you are doing some transactions, you will have a token. So you will not have any way to recover username or email or identity of the user. Mainly, what you have here is a wallet. So you will have some provider like MetaMask to provide you an ID or wallet ID. So it will be like a token based or UID token that you will have. And from that, you will start to operate. It is a big game changer, and we will see later on what it means. But it's a big difference with the Web 2. And it will change a lot of things. So then we have anonymous transfer of token on the blockchain and also on no personal data. So it means that if I'm transferring some data from one point to another, I don't have any private data, so I don't have any way to understand who did what. It's a good feature, but some hackers, for example, may use this feature to easily, or let's say, to do some strange movement. So this is not an issue, but it's a fact that during the transfer of token, for example, from one wallet to another, you will not have a way to retrieve personal data. It will mainly be wallet ID, transaction ID, so it will be encrypted, and you will not be able to retrieve personal data and understand who it was. The third point here is also decentralization of the web. So you don't have this kind of one big web application running in one server in one specific location, but you will have a notion of multiple nodes running on different places around the world. So in general, if I give an example of Binance, of Ethereum, you will have multiple nodes to manage all the transactions, and you will have single people hosting on server the solution and the platform, and the same software. So it means you don't have any more this kind of big web server running all on in one place. You will have a different architecture with multiple nodes. This is the third point. And the last point on the blockchain is the blockchain itself. This is an innovative technology, an innovative protocol. Also the library and all the functionality that you may have on the Web3 are totally innovative. So you don't have that in the Web2. You will have another way to communicate, so to use protocol, for example, Binance or Ethereum, okay? It's totally new. You will have a notion of crypto transfer, of a new way to authenticate. And this is totally new if you compare with previously. Not only the authentication, but also the operation. So if you build your application, a web application, and you build it on the Web3, the way to manage all the process, all the transactions, and all the library also, if you are doing programming, will be totally different. So you will work with Web3 library, you will work with transactions, you will work with new technology, and it's totally new at this stage. So this is two aspects that I wanted to highlight here. So then we have two other aspects. This is scalability and NFTs. So for the scalability, from my point of view, it is tremendous. So it's totally new. One part of the scalability is a protocol. So you don't have any more this country-specific protocol. You are now on token base. So you don't have any notion of language, of country anymore. What you are building is global. So it means that all the Web3, in terms of transaction, of ID, will be comprehensive everywhere, worldwide. This is a fact. It's like, and we will see after some example, but it is a fact that it allows you to operate everywhere. So you don't have the separation of language, of geography. What you are building and operating is everywhere available. Another thing is scalability in terms of infrastructure. So I already talked a little bit about it. So you will have multiple hosting server. So you will not host anymore in one specific country, it will be hosted everywhere. So this way, what will operate and how you will operate will be always global. So you don't have any more to separate or to think about country specific, because the infrastructure available for you is already global, So if you need to operate in Asia, in US or in Europe, you have already the way to communicate there by default. Another topic is the global currency. So you are familiar already with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto currencies, but it is a fact that it's not limited to one specific country or continent. So you don't have any euro or dollar or yen or anything. You have the Bitcoin, it's available for all the world. It is global currency. Same for Ethereum. And this is tremendous also, because we are not anymore blocked and limited to one specific currency. You don't have also to manage any, let's say, currency transfer, currency conversion. So we are talking, if I talk about Bitcoin to someone, everyone knows what it is. It is digital currency, but it is also the same meaning for everyone worldwide. So you don't have any more this separation. It is part of the scalability of this Web3. Because on the Web3, you will be able to manage and to process Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, BNB, and other cryptocurrency in a very easy way. And the last point is NFTs. So it was created with the Web3, and mainly it's NFTs is really a unique digital entity. So it's a way to put a digital content unique. At the moment, we are talking about, in general, about artistic items, some images, but it can be used for a lot of different things. It can be used for music, it can be used for so many things. And I think we are just starting to use it, but it's part of scalability. You can apply it for a lot of different use cases. So this is also something new, because we are talking about global, and we can say that we have one unique item worldwide. And we can also start think about business, about selling here. Okay, so this is the first introduction. It's the second part of the Web3. Okay, so now let's talk about the DeFi and why it's this introduction, what it is exactly. Let's say we are trying to explain what it is and trying to give more details around that. So the banks, so the DeFi eliminates bank intermediate. So it means that you don't have any translation, let's say, conversion between currency. For example, we are talking about Euro and USD. You don't have any conversion rate to manage. You don't have any fee also. Let's say the fee is totally different. And it will be cheaper also. So it means you are eliminating a lot of complexity where you will also eliminate a central architecture, because we are used to banks, for example, German bank, US bank, or European bank, they are central, where they are owning the system, they are regulating the system in one point. But here, with the DeFi, we are, let's say, propagating and distributing the responsibility all over the world. So the architecture is different, but what is good for people in the crypto is that you can access to very nice feature in terms of transaction, cryptocurrency transaction. So anyone can access and start to transfer tokens from one point to another. Another thing very great is that it is fast. So with the smart contract on the blockchain, if you compare with bank, to transfer, for example, $100 from one bank account to another bank account, you have 1 day, for example. But on the crypto space, within a couple of seconds, the transfer is complete. So it is also a new parameter and a new fact that is really important and that is in the advantage of the DeFi. So the new way to transfer amount of money is quicker at the moment. If you imagine also for big amount of money and you want to transfer it, it's very fast, very easy to use. Okay, traceability. So traceability is improved because you have some layer with blocks. So it means that you can see all the transactions. You can check in the, let's say, system that are in general open source or open to the public. You can check all the transactions done. For example, if I take the example of Binance smart contract, and if I want to see all the different transactions from one wallet, I can easily click on the link and can check all the details, all the transactions that was done. So for traceability, it is improved. If you compare it with the current bank system, you will not be able to have that easily. Protocol. So I already talked about that, but it's the innovation. So you will see, and we are seeing that new protocols are created with DeFi. For example, transfer are very quick. New cryptocurrency are coming. All is based on protocol. So it's mainly a piece of software to allow some transaction, crypto transaction. But it's mainly innovation. So we see that. And if you have a business and you want to add new feature, or you want to work in the crypto space, or you want to work in the finance space, we see also banks that are really interested to collaborate. We see banks that are starting to have some projects related to crypto, and they are also starting to have some financial protocol created. It's not all green. Sometimes we need to learn. So also the crypto space is learning a lot in terms of security, is learning a lot about protection related to financial payment, but still, well, I see the crypto space doing good progress there. So then we're talking about crypto, but what is the adoption at the moment? So here are some numbers. It's only, let's say, only for this year. It's evolving quickly. 2 years ago, we did not talk about crypto so much. Today, it's really a topic where a lot of people are interested. So mainly here, the main number are that 40%, and it's for some country, 40% of people are willing to switch over the credit card. So it means that we have already a good portion of people willing to switch to the credit card. To switch from the credit card to the crypto. So it means to accept to pay with crypto. So in the near future, let's say we have a potential customer there. For example, 23 of the Americans are owning crypto or own crypto. It's a fact that more and more people have crypto wallet based on the different company like Binance, Coinbase, Crypto.com, with new customer joining. Also, it's easier now to have crypto. The last part, just to illustrate, is that 75% of retailers, they plan to accept crypto within the next 2 years. So it means that also for retailer, people doing commerce, online, offline, they are willing to switch, let's say, to add to the current payment method, they are willing to add the crypto payment. So we see that in terms of numbers, we see there's a big potential for payment, let's say crypto payments in the future. So then here's a quick example just to illustrate what we have on the platform. It's just to illustrate a little bit a kind of transaction on the YmplePay system. You will see there's no private data, there's no email, no username. You will have the deposit to the transaction ID. You will have the contract. Here is Doge, just as an example. It can be BUSD, it can be Bitcoin. But here you see how the transaction is considered. So this is a sample, just to illustrate a little bit the YmplePay part. Okay, so now I will pass let's say, to Alberto for the second part, security.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Florian. Yeah, for all the background. So hopefully it's going to be, it's very brief, of course, but it's quite exciting. So we can go to the next slide. So I'm going to speak about the security part, of specifically of YmplePay. It might be a little bit technical in some parts, so feel free to ask any question. I think we mentioned at the beginning, right? So feel free to send the questions along, along the presentation as you hear that, and then we will try to answer as many as possible at the end. If not, we can reply later, Twitter or whatever, later on. Okay, so two parts that I wanted to speak about YmplePay. So why is the important is different. So one part is it was called the Binance Smart Chain, and the other one is the payment gateway. So we are using both at the end, right? So for the BSC part, so this is backed up by Binance itself, of course. So we consider it mathematically unbreakable, of course, unless we find something. But yeah, we don't think that it's reasonably, threats to the Binance Smart Chain. It's been used by many projects, and it has been sound. They proved to be very sound. And then it's a solid infrastructure as well, right? So it's in the blockchain itself, of course, and that's what we're using for YmplePay, right? So that's our base. So it's based on BSC. So that's the part for the smart chain. The other part is the payment gateway. So our own solution as well that is functioning on top of the smart chain of the blockchain. It's an open source project that we are doing, most of it. So we have this this principle of not really holding that many funds, right? So when someone is paying through YmplePay and stuff using the solution, so something we call minimum hold of funds. So we essentially, or most of the time, we don't really hold the funds like a bank. So pretty much we just facilitate the payments. So that's a fundamental difference from like PayPal itself, right? So PayPal pretty much holds the funds, and then they will disperse it or not if they have questions. So we're trying to avoid that as much as possible. So we think it's going to be even more secure in that way. Of course, this is changing, and it may change for some other use cases, but yeah, that's what's at the moment. And the payment gateway, so we have some engineers working on that. And then I'm trying to, of course, right, so being my background in security, I'm trying to implement the best practices in information security. So what we are creating, so by trying to see that it's as secure as possible, especially in this environment now, right? So probably you have heard about all these kind of security issues, hacking events and stuff. So we're trying to prevent that as much as possible. So I'm trying to use my experience in that. And then see that we can minimize those risks if that ever happens. So we don't think that's going to happen. So we do have actually protocols and stuff how to manage all this. Next slide. The smart contract. So the smart contract, this is the address, of course, right? So I don't expect you're going to be typing that right now. You can go to the website to find it. So that's the smart contracts. Then you can have the details in our website and YmplePay.com. Yeah, I just want to highlight a few things, right? So it has been audited. So we're using multiple tools for that. So one is Solidity Scan. Solidity Scan is an emergent application for vulnerability scanning, relatively new but quite capable. Also, MythX, that is a company created by Consensysing, and they pretty much that's dedicated to cybersecurity, and that has been quite useful to find, potential issues that we may have. The contract is simple enough, I would say. It's a bit probably subjective, something like less than 500 lines of code. Generally speaking, we want to make it as simple as possible. So we don't want to implement like too many features or too many functions that might be complicated. So we see this as an advantage to have like a relatively simple contract. With the scans, I will show it in the next slides. So the scans, we didn't find major issues. And then we have these limited tokens, right? So the token is there is a limited number of them, and it's just being used for facilitating the transactions. So this is an example, right? So I start actually with our project. So there's the smart contract that we put in Solidity Scan. There were only a few issues. There are a couple of them that marked as high, but in reality, they are like just more like a warnings, because it depends, of course, right? This is a scan automatically done. So for this, for example, this high ranked vulnerabilities, it was more that there were potential issue, because you can, I mean, as a YmplePay, the impact holder, you can burn your own tokens, for example, right? So it's something that is possible, and we allow this by design. Of course, without knowing the context, these kind of scanners, they show it as a potential vulnerability. So I don't think it is. But yeah, I just leave it here as a context. So that was probably the major stuff. So we still got 4.67 in the score out of 5. So it was relatively high. And as we will see in the next slide, so I just want to compare with some other projects, right? So I just put some examples in there, right? So to be honest, just to have some reference in there from famous projects. So one was Shiba Inu, right? So it's very popular. So they still have a lower score than ours. Still arguably, right? If the vulnerabilities found are valid or not, but then just to give you the kind of the background, how this works. And the other one is the wrapped BNB, right? So BNB natively is not a smart contract. So the smart one is the wrapped one that works on the BSC, the Binance Smart Chain. So they have a slightly number higher than us, 4.81. But I just wanted to highlight that in general speaking, so our contract seems to be along those lines, so along the major players. So I think that's due to the simplicity as well, and also due to the using or reusing, right, some other parts of some other contracts, and using the industry best practices in that. The next slide, let's talk a little bit about the infrastructure. So it's getting a bit complicated maybe for some. So feel free to ask if you have any question about this. So 3 main components that I wanted to show that we are doing at YmplePay. So one is what's called WAF, the Web Application Firewall. So the servers themselves, the distributed cloud infrastructure, and what we call continuous vigilance, right? Allowing all these issues appearing, and then we proactively discover them. So let's start next slide with WAF. So there's a small diagram in there. So for those that don't know yet how the web application firewall works, I mean, it's a simplification of them. The one that we're using is at the moment is Cloudflare. So pretty much the web application firewall works like there's like a filter, right? So there's like multiple connections. We're talking about the blockchain part, but we're talking about our own implementation, the web application. So there are like multiple connections, so people trying to make transactions, payments, and stuff. That then we might find a malicious actor, someone that might try to do, like something, might try to even do a denial of service. So Cloudflare has been like quite good for our purposes because you can detect, identify, and even actively block malicious connections. So that's the technology we're using, and then that should minimize. I mean, it's of course not 100% effective, like nothing is, but it's quite good enough to minimize like issues. And then the destination server, which is going to be our site, so YmplePay, receive most of the time only like valid connections. So anything that's invalid, malformed, or suspicious, so Cloudflare is doing like a good job in that. And I think we are pretty much delegating this instead of trying to invent our own solution, reinventing the wheel. So we prefer to use like third parties that are well known in the industry, they are approved. And I think that's the way to go. And we can also advance like quicker because we don't have to worry about that one. The next slide, we talk a little bit about the servers. I mean, that's the best diagram I could find about the distributed cloud infrastructure. So I want to highlight some parts, right? So that I was mentioning before. So YmplePay is relying on the blockchain itself, right? So that's why I put this diagram with the multiple connections. So when we are routing, when we are like sending payments or actually facilitating payments, yes, so we do coordinate this part up to some extent on our servers. But everything is really happening in the blockchain, right? So you are interacting with the blockchain itself, and that's where the security really, is relying on. So I just want to highlight with this diagram is like you are not really trusting us 100%. I mean, I hope that you trust us 100% maybe, but it's crypto, right? So the infrastructure relies on the security of blockchain itself. So we are not really a central authority. So you don't really have to, trust the project 100%. You might trust better the mathematics of that. So YmplePay is just a facilitator of these kind of payments. And then the application is lightweight, so it's relatively small. So it has the minimum intervention for what you need, and the rest is going to be happening elsewhere. So that's why this is done by design. Because we wanted to make it as simple as possible, as fast as possible, and from my point of view as well, as secure as possible. Next slide. So the last part of that is what we call continuous vigilance. In security, there are like different approaches how to manage security incidents. So one of them is if something happens, of course, right? So you fix it. So it's more a reactive approach. I mean, years ago, it was mostly this kind of approach, having people on call, right? Something happens, we just fix it along the way and we learn about it. At the beginning, of course, I mean, the beginning is like 20 years ago, that was still fine. Now it doesn't work that way. So you have to be more proactive. You have to find this before someone else finds it, and then have a plan if something ever happens. So I just put some examples. We're using multiple tools, but then I put some examples that anyone can check it. So it's something public. So you can feel free to go to this website from Qualys. Is put at the end. It says slabs.com, and you can check actually any website. Feel free to check some other projects that you might be interested in as well. This is only about the SSL configuration. So SSL is the protocol that encrypts the connection between your browser and, in this case, our servers. And then pretty much we have configured, I would say, good enough to reach the A level, pretty much one of the highest ones that they provide. So I just put that it's a very simple, but I put one of the examples that you can do. I mean, you can do your own due diligence, and instead of just listening to someone tell you how secure we are, so I show you the way that you can check it as well. The next slide as well. Another example that requires probably a little bit more work for you if you want to check it. But there is this company called Security Scorecard. This company was is great. Well, it was created some years ago. It works in the way that you, as a company, you want to see what the issues are with your providers, right? So because I might be a company doing whatever, right, doing bottles of milk or whatever, so my job is not really to check cybersecurity for every single provider. But then it might happen. This is the problems that we have been seeing recently. So it might happen that someone in my distribution chain, they might have an issue. And if they have an issue, I have an issue, right? So it happens like this. So this company called Security Scorecard, they assign like scorecards about security to different companies. You can follow different companies, and of course you can pay for get like full reports and stuff. The basic one is free, and also you can search us in there. And we are in there precisely because of that. Because some companies that have approached to us, they ask us, right? So okay, good, you got this report about security and stuff, but then is there any third party showing that is good enough, right? And feel free as well to find, to other projects in there. So if they are in there. So ours is of course continuously moving, but in general, so we reached this above 90, which is as is shown in the explanation before. Below is one of the highest scores, and then is one of the less likely to be hacked. So that's public as well, and then feel free to check that. And the next one, and that was pretty much about the security part. I mean, from my side, and then we just pass it back to Fabian.
Okay, thank you, Roberto. Okay, so now we are like almost in the last slide for the presentation. Then we will have Q&A. So here is a presentation of the token that we have. Just wanted to give some details around that. So it's mainly a coin that was created 1 year ago. It's quite stable. It's supported on by the product YmplePay, in addition of BUSD and Bitcoin. For this token, you don't have any additional token creation possible. So you will not have this Luna, for example, a sample where you can produce a lot of tokens. No, it's not possible. It's limited. The maximum supply is limited to 100 billion tokens. There is no tax fee, so the contract is totally verified. There is no tax on any transaction, so you don't pay anything on the top. As you see, we are really starting the process. The market cap is low at the moment, so it's $400K. It's quite low at the moment, so it means that we have quite some way to go in the future. It's available on Binance Smart Chain. It's BIP20. Here is, let's say, the contact address. So it's not very easy from here to take it, but from the website you can find anyway all the details on the contract. We are really transparent and public, so on the website you have everything, also the source code, and everything is available for you. In terms of let's say coin, if you check and at the moment it's quite difficult for Bitcoin and some other currency, but if you compare with Impa in the, let's say, previous months, we can see that it's quite stable. So I will let you also check the price, but in the previous months we get a growth of more than 20% in terms of price, token price. So it's okay. Just wanted to show that. So now we will pass to the Q&A. So the chat is open for a question if we want to reply right now. We have also an email, info@ymplepay.com, where you can send any question This way we can take time to respond if you have any requests, demand, comment, question. It's not time for you to send it, or if you want to send it later, you can email us. So I will just leave maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes for people to write on the chat, or to write an email with the question, and then we can reply.
Indeed, I mean, it can be any question, right, about the project if you want to know, or something about the app we were talking about, you know, about the everything, right, from the Web3, DeFi and everything, or the security as well. And then we will see right away if we can answer. Now we have some limited time, but then yeah, we can answer. If not, of course, as Fabian was saying, we can reply later.
Okay. So, okay, so there's only we have one question. Okay, so it's related to FTX, like the recent issue with FTX. So people are asking. Okay, we have also another request from Ian. So is there any patch management done on the platform, and how often? It's a question we have.
Yes, I mean, I can take that one.
Okay.
Yes, so pretty much is an, I mean, there are two parts in there. So there is an automatic part that we are applying automatically, like security patches as they appear, and they are safe to, you know, to apply. Like sometimes they appear in, you know, in a board or something, but they are not safe enough sometimes to apply to a server. In that case, we have some authentication controls. That's the automatic one, and the ones that are not safe, I mean, like the machine cannot update itself directly, so that one is done manually, and that's done nearly daily. So that's I would say like quite frequently.
Okay, so we have also a question. Yeah, so it's a good topic. So on the patch management, yeah, we are ensuring that all we have a backup, we have a copy. We have also, and I think we can mention it, we have some alert system also in case there is an issue.
Yeah, in case of issues, yeah, we are already this alerting system as well. So we should get like sort of immediately almost, you know, issues, you know, if there is about this, you know, either security issues or some other kind of, you know, performance issues or something like this. But we haven't really experienced that much, at least recently. But yeah, there is some alerting system as well.
Yes, it is true. So we have another thing. We will also next quarter we will also have a status page where we can show the uptime of the platform, but we are in a very good position at the moment, so we don't have any issue at the moment. So we have another question from Panagiotis. If we have different to be reached out to us, so like LinkedIn, social profile. So yes, I will take that. So we have yeah, we have on the website www.YmplePay.com. We have also other channel to reach out to us, like LinkedIn. We have it, Twitter. Twitter also is a good way to be available. Yeah. Then we have another question. Are customer or tech support 24 hours or during office hour? So maybe you can take it, Roberto. The question is, our customer and tech support, is it a 24-hour or only office hours?
Okay, from our side. At the moment, it's like, I would say officially is like business hours based in Europe, the European time. time frames. Unofficially, sometimes we do it on weekends. So even Fabian is sometimes on the weekends. But yeah, normally it's going to be business hours. In the measure that we can expand, of course, yeah, it's going to be like 24/7, especially to cover different time zones, because I know there's people there, especially from Asia and the US, and they're completely different time zones. And then we don't cover sometimes like in real time, but we're in the process of expanding them.
Okay, so maybe we can take one last question. Let's take 1 minute more if someone has a last question. Yeah, so I will add. We have one more question on the FTX. Someone is asking if there is any issue, or if we have, you know, the last FTX issue, and if we are exposed to some kind of same scenario, or is it possible? Do you want to take it, Roberto?
Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, definitely. I think there was some similar actually like questions on Twitter, yeah, like some time ago, and is no, actually we are not exposed to, to any holdings in FTX, and actually nowhere else. So different to some other companies, so we are like self-sufficient. At least at the moment. So we are not really reinvesting or, reusing the tokens, to acquire some other like securities or something like this. As you might see from, from LinkedIn, our backgrounds is mostly in engineering and stuff, and not really too much in the, trying to investment banking or something like this, which some people might see as a disadvantage. I think we see it as an advantage because we focus a lot in the technology part. We don't focus really in, trying to make the, quick money or something like this. At the same time, if that's the stability of the token, okay, the token doesn't probably like increases massively, as some other tokens sometimes, but it doesn't really crash as well. So this is more the stability of the token itself, and that's why we have no exposure for other third parties. But yeah, actually there were some questions about this, and there were some rumors on internet or Telegram or somewhere. So I invite actually everybody to follow the official channels, right? And go to the website, and we have Twitter and stuff. Yeah, we do the announcements in there.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to add that we are also learning from what is happening in the crypto space. So I think it's a good opportunity to improve and not to repeat failure like we saw recently. And we are very sensitive to that. So it means in terms of token creation, we will not create one more. It's really limited. In terms of also information that we are sharing and security, we are very prudent and very proactive there. So it means that we are avoiding any issue. And I think this is that's why we have Roberto in the security, but we are investing a lot in security and engineering both. Okay, so I think we don't have any more, any other question. So at this point, we can wrap up. So it was the first session of YmplePay. It's something new, like new startup. So we thank you very much all for your participation. Feel free to follow us on the website or any social to have different updates. And then maybe next quarter we can create a new event to talk about the new functionality. Any last word, Roberto?
Indeed, no, thank you very much for organizing that. So it was more, the initiative Fabian, so he wants to be close to the community as well, because sometimes we, interact only through social media when we have time. But yeah, I think it has been like good learning experience. So thank you everybody that took the time for, for joining today. And then until next time we might have even more questions, I guess. But yeah, thank you again.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Have a good rest of the evening. Yeah.
Bye.